Hello, my name is Paulu Nzambi, and I am the Chief Operating Officer of the Manchester Bidwell Corporation, and it is my pleasure to share this video with you. Our goal is simple. We want to do two things. One, we want to share the unique studio environments that we have here at the Manchester Craftsmen's Guild. Our second goal is to unpack or explain some of the ideas that exist that support the work that we do here at MCG. Our founder, Bill Strickland, was profoundly impacted by an experience that he had visiting Falling Water and the architecture of Frank Lloyd Wright. So much so that when he imagined the facility that would one day become the Manchester Craftsmen's Guild, he had very specific design principles in mind, some of which you'll be able to see here today. Large open spaces filled with art, flowers, natural light, water, and of course, a sense of orderliness and cleanliness. Many of these things you'll be able to see on the video tour that we're about to embark on together. The Digital Art Studio is a wonderful space. It's filled with technology. Young people, by and large, love technology. You can look around the room and you can see the Mac computers or the HP computers and understand that we've invested a great deal to make sure that our students in the after-school population have access to this equipment. The key to go beneath the surface is really to understand that these are simply machines. The value of having a studio like this really comes from the fact that you have the ability to place the creative imagination of young people and connect it with the capacities that exist through technology. By doing this, you create the very environment of innovation that we believe will be able to develop the answers and the solutions to our present and future problems. Because we believe that by combining creative imagination, that which naturally exists in youth, and technology, we can achieve the extraordinary. That is what lies beneath the surface of why we have a digital arts studio. We use digital SLR 35mm cameras for instruction. While the cameras are digital, they are not point-and-shoot cameras. Students still need to learn the mechanical workings of the cameras. They also need to learn concepts such as contrast, depths of field, and the rule of thirds. At MCG, students process images using digital and traditional film processing methods. Our expansive darkroom allows us to manually process and enlarge black and white images. Again, all of these things are above the waterline. To truly understand photography as a tool for youth development, what we have to do is we have to look beneath the waterline. The best way to do this in photography is to understand that we must stop looking at the camera as a tool for capturing images. Instead, we should view the camera as a passport. That's right, a passport. A passport to experience and a passport to environment. You see, one of the things that we do frequently in this studio is we take young people on field trips. We take them out to the Laurel Highlands where they're surrounded by nothing but trees and flowers and streams. We take them into downtown where they might have the opportunity to walk through the center of commerce. The fact of the matter is, through the use of the camera, we can take young people outside of their normal or traditional environments. Some young people are used to what they see in their neighborhood, so much so that they've begun to believe that their neighborhood really represents what's available to them in the world at large. You see, by using the camera as a passport, we can transcend that idea. We can let them see and understand and experience that the world is much larger than the neighborhood that they live in. Camera not as tool for taking or capturing images, camera as passport to experience and new environments. That's what we're trying to do beneath the surface, to get young people to understand that the world is large, that it's filled with opportunity, and it's waiting for them to engage it. The ceramic studio is filled with light. Around the room, you will see 18 potter's wheels, a slab roller, and large canvas-covered tables for students to work on. On the shelves surrounding the studio are objects of art, created by visiting artists who came to MCG, worked side by side with students conducting hands-on workshops, and often exhibited their work in our formal gallery. So inspired were these visiting artists that they donated many of their finished works to the center. Adjacent to the studio is the kiln room, the oven for ceramics. Here we have 3 electric kilns and 2 gas kilns. On the outside of the building, there are 2 more kilns, one dedicated to raku and the other to soda firing. As you can see, we have made a serious and intentional investment in high-quality equipment, allowing us to parallel the outcomes obtained in industry or in higher education. Our value proposition is simple. Students will perceive the value that you place and have of them by the quality of the equipment that you provide to them to work on. Simply put, to obtain world-class outcomes, you must provide world-class equipment and world-class instruction. So far, we've focused on those things readily observable. Using the metaphor of the iceberg, these things are what I would call above the waterline. However, to fully appreciate the significance of the work that we do, we must look beneath the waterline at those aspects of programming that are not readily observable. In ceramics, perhaps the clearest example involves the process of centering clay. You see, every student who aspires to making a cup or a bowl or a platter or a plate has to master one basic skill: centering the clay. As the wheel spins round and round, the student places the lump of clay in the center and attempts to balance it, so much so that it won't tilt or fall in on itself when they begin to open the clay to form that bowl or that cup. The interesting thing is, students will have to attempt this process multiple times before they're successful. And so, as teaching artists, we watch them fail, fail, and fail again. But what's interesting is our students do not give up. Inspired by their teaching artists, the beauty of the artwork and the ceramic in their environment, they persist on until one day they master centering the clay, and all the opportunities of creation become available to them. At that moment, they can develop exactly what they want: a bowl, a cup, a plate. The possibilities then become endless. So what is it about centering the clay? It's the value. It's the value of understanding perseverance. It's the understanding that even though you might encounter adversity in life, you don't want to give up. You want to try and try and try again until ultimately you succeed. There are a lot of different processes that go on in the design studio. Everything from textiles and fashion design to landscape painting or traditional drawing to silk screening or paper printing. Whatever the medium or the process, it takes place here in the design studio. One of the things that's unique about design is the fact that it harnesses a natural instinct within young people. This instinct, quite simply, is the desire to express oneself, to really understand how we use design as a tool for youth development and engagement. We have to once again go beneath the surface. You see, many people have given speeches and written entire books on how to impact the self-esteem of young people. What we found in the design studio is something very interesting. We can bring in a young person. We can teach them how to use the silk screening equipment. They can develop something that they want to put on the t-shirt, an image, a logo, a pattern, a picture. We can help them silk screen that design so that at some point they end up with their very own unique, one-of-a-kind t-shirt. We notice that the next thing they do is they put on that t-shirt. Many of them will return to their high schools. And while walking down the halls of that high school wearing that t-shirt, invariably, one of their friends or colleagues will come up to them and say, "Hey, where did you get that t-shirt?" Their response is simple. Usually, they'll smile and they'll say, "I made it." There's something magical in those few words, "I made it." Those are the words that really demonstrate what we're trying to do in the studio. Because if we look at those words, what we'll understand is something quite profound. The student has come to a realization that they have made something of value. What we've discovered is through these processes of creation, the fact that students get to make things that they get to show and demonstrate and wear for other people. Through these processes, what we've learned is that we are building self-esteem in a unique way. We are tying efforts to outcomes. Students understand that if they put in the work, they can get a great product, something that they can be proud of and others can be proud of them for doing. Now that's beneath the surface. That's what we're really trying to achieve through the design studio. Now that you've had an opportunity to walk through our spaces and experience, at least in part, our ceramic studio, our photo studio, our design art studio, and our digital art studio, we hope that you have a better understanding of the facilities that we have here available for students to work in. We also hope that you've developed a greater appreciation and understanding for how we use the arts as a tool of engagement for youth development here at the Manchester Craftsmen's Guild. Thank you, and we'll see you again soon.